Today we're going to start chapter 4, and it's going to be a quick chapter. We're going to just look at specifically the cell membrane. 4.1 is going to deal with the plasma membrane or the cell membrane, its structure and its function. The purpose is to regulate what comes into and out of the cell. It's made up of a phospholipid bilayer, and it has proteins embedded. We're going to learn more about those proteins in this chapter. We know that there's a hydrophilic or water-loving polar heads and hydrophobic or water-fearing non-polar tails. There's also cholesterol throughout those. It keeps the fatty acid tails from sticking together. Membrane proteins may be the following types. One's called peripheral. Peripheral proteins are on one side of the membrane. So just like your peripheral vision, if you can see it out of the corner of your eye, it's around one side or the other, not both, so it's a peripheral protein. Integral proteins actually span the membrane. They go from the outside to inside the cell. They can move laterally. Laterally is left to right, so we can have them floating throughout this double lipid bilayer. So we have integral proteins, we have peripheral proteins. This is a glycolipid that's scattered throughout the cell membrane. Here we have cholesterol, and that's to keep those fatty acid tails from sticking together. We have the hydrophobic tails and the hydrophilic heads. So they turn tails, so this is a barrier throughout to help protect the cell. There's 5 membrane protein functions. The first one is the channel protein. This allows particular molecules or ions to cross the plasma membrane freely. If you have cystic fibrosis, it's a disorder caused by a faulty chloride channel. So this chloride ion doesn't go through properly, and it causes mucus to collect in your airways, pancreatic ducts, and liver. Carrier proteins are selectively interact with a specific molecule so it can cross the membrane faster. So glucose, for example, glucose is a pretty big molecule. If we want it to get it into the cell for energy, then it's going to happen through this carrier protein that's selective just for glucose. The next one is the cell recognition protein, or the MHC, major histocompatibility complex, which is important when it comes to recognition of your own body. So if we have these throughout here, organ transplants can be a problem because this is specific to you. So the closer these proteins are to someone else that's getting a transplant, the less chance of rejection. The receptor protein that is here, it has a special shape to it, and it only takes one shape in it, so this notch is going to fit only this particular protein. It says here that some types of dwarfism do not result because the body doesn't have enough growth hormone being produced, but because in the plasma membrane the growth hormone receptors are faulty, so it can't. They may be producing enough growth hormone, but the receptor itself here is not able to take it in, so then dwarfism occurs. In the last example, the enzymatic protein catalyzes a specific reaction and catalyzes to speed up and a chemical reaction. The membrane protein, and that's called adenylate cyclase, is involved in making ATP and the speed at which it is made. An example of a toxin that interferes with this process is cholera, and what happens is that this adenylate cyclase doesn't function properly, and it can lead to severe diarrhea, which can lead to death. What a way to go.